Related research. More than any other personality theorist, Gordon Allport maintained a lifelong active interest in the scientific study of religion and published 6 lectures on the subject under the title The Individual and His Religion. On a personal level, Allport was a devout Episcopalian, and for nearly 30 years, he offered a series of meditations in Appleton Chapel, Harvard University. The religious orientation scale. Allport believed that a deep religious commitment was a mark of a mature individual, but he also believed that not all churchgoers have a mature religious orientation. Some, in fact, are highly prejudiced. Allport offered a possible explanation for this frequently reported observation. He suggested that church and prejudice offer the same safety, security, and status, at least for some people. These people can feel both comfortable and self-righteous with their prejudicial attitudes and their church attendance. To understand the relationship between church attendance and prejudice, Allport and J. Michael Ross developed the Religious Orientation Scale, ROS, which is applicable only for churchgoers. The ROS consists of 20 items, 11 extrinsic and 9 intrinsic. Examples of extrinsic items are: the primary purpose of prayer is to gain relief and protection. What religion offers me most is comfort when sorrow and misfortune strike. And one reason for my being a church member is that such membership helps to establish a person in the community. Examples of intrinsic items include: my religious beliefs are what really lie behind my whole approach to life, and I try hard to carry my religion over into all my other dealings in life. Allport and Ross assumed that people with an extrinsic orientation have a utilitarian view of religion, that is, they see it as a means to an end. Theirs is a self-serving religion of comfort and social convention. Their beliefs are lightly held and easily reshaped when convenient. In contrast, a second group of people have an intrinsic orientation. These people live their religion and find their master motive in their religious faith. Rather than using religion for some end, they bring other needs into harmony with their religious values. They have an internalized creed and follow it fully. Although Allport originally thought that religious orientation would be a bipolar trait, he soon realized that not everyone could easily be fit into either the extrinsic or the intrinsic pole. Some people endorsed both the extrinsic and the intrinsic statements. These people formed a third group called indiscriminately pro-religious. Others tended to disagree with both the extrinsic and the intrinsic items. And these people made up a fourth group called indiscriminately anti-religious or non-religious. Over the years, researchers have made a number of changes in the items and in scoring procedures, but the underlying structure has remained intact. An item analysis looked at a number of studies on the ROS with the intent of investigating its psychometric qualities. This analysis showed that the extrinsic scale had only moderate reliability, leading to the suggestion that more items should be added to the scale. Religion, prayer, and health. Recently, some research has examined the relationship between religion and health. For example, Jason Schnittker looked at the relationship between religious involvement and depression among a large group of U.S. participants. Consistent with Allport's assumptions, Schnittker found a U-shaped relationship between importance of religion in one's life and levels of depression, a relationship that may have resulted from a dichotomy between extrinsic and intrinsic religious orientations. Schnittker also found that people who sought spiritual help tended to have low levels of depression, that is, people who seek spiritual guidance are less depressed than those who do not seek such help. A meta-analytic study by Michael McCullough and Associates found religious involvement to be related to lower rates of hypertension, heart disease, stroke, and cancer. Such a relationship, of course, does not establish a causal relationship between religious involvement and health. Better health could just as well be due to psychosocial resources provided by religious involvement. For example, religious involvement is likely to expand one's circle of friends and thus increase the social support these friends provide. However, when McCullough et al. Controlled for social support, their item analysis revealed a small but significant relationship between religious involvement and death rate, that is, people high in religious involvement were somewhat more likely to be alive at follow-up than were people low in religious involvement. These findings indicate that religious activity independent of social support is associated with a slight increase in one's span of life. More recently, Richard Contrada and Associates reported that cardiovascular patients with strong religious beliefs responded better after heart surgery than did patients with lower levels of religious beliefs. Patients with strong beliefs had fewer post-surgery complications and shorter hospital stays. Again, consistent with Allport's assumptions about extrinsic and intrinsic religious orientation, neither prayer nor attendance at religious services was positively related to surgical complications and length of hospitalization. Although these researchers did not measure extrinsic and intrinsic religious orientation, it is possible that people with an extrinsic religious orientation who are facing the dangers of heart surgery may increase their level of prayer as a means of bargaining with a higher power.